plug this in because I think the Raiders can be really good.
I didn't even get to the question.
Yeah, I do.
2,600 yards, 37 touchdowns. Some sports books have them going to Vegas. Would they be a threat?
Listen, I think that any team that goes from disaster coach, disaster quarterback to really good coach, good quarterback, that by itself can turn a 4-win team into a 10-win team with no
schedule,
right, with no other changes. You then add the fact that I think they are at 6 in position to take either him or Tet McMillan, the wide receiver. But let's say it's him.
That'd be interesting.
But I think he might be even a better fit for them given they have Pete Carroll. The reason I said McMillan is because the wide receiving room is their weakest spot on the team. Bowers is awesome.
Right.
Geno is good. Max Crosby is great. They gave Christian Wilkins a bucket of money last offseason. He was hurt most of the year. I know it's a tough division, obviously, but I absolutely think it is on the board. The Raiders, with a last place schedule, with a massive upgrade at coach and quarterback, if they get an instant impact running back, one of the few positions you can walk in and be like, oh, he's the 3rd best running back in football immediately. We've seen that from rookies. You know what I mean? When they pop, that they absolutely could come in 2nd in the AFC West, that they could win 10 games. I do think that.
I don't think that's off the table. I mean, that division, if they are good, I mean, that division is going to be
dominant.
A war. So I don't know if they make the playoffs. I give them a shot because, like you said, they might be there with the Chargers and the Broncos. But I liked what I saw in college. I'm not fully, when Saquon Barkley came out, I knew he's going to be great. I still didn't think they should pick him number 2 just because he was a running back, but I thought he was going to be great. I like what I saw, but he also was at Boise State, and he wasn't playing the greatest competition. I'm not going to blame him for Penn State. He had over 100 yards, but it was under 4 yards a carry. Tougher competition, but still, you need an offensive line to give you some advantages. But I'm just not fully convinced he's going to come in and tear up the league. So I like what I see. I think there's a chance of it, but I don't know. I'd be surprised, Nick, if he steps in and he's like one of the best 4 or 5 running backs in the league. I would be surprised because there's some good running backs in the league.
I don't think, this team, I don't think he makes them dangerous. And I say that, this is not a knock on him. I think he's going to be a really good player and effective, especially if he ends up in Vegas with Pete Carroll. That's kind of his pedigree of, we're going to establish the running game. We're going to have a great running back. We're going to play great defense, all those things. So he will be a huge part of what they do. But I just look at that division, and even in just that division, defensively, the teams that he's going to have to go up against, they stop the run. I just don't see him having a tremendous amount of success to where he impacts the win column more than, okay, if they start to be a better passing team. And I get it. Everybody's excited about the running game now because of Saquon. Everybody ain't Saquon.
But they'll be better. But they are going to be a better passing team because they have Geno Smith now.
Yes.
Instead of what, you know what I mean? And they're going to be.
They still need more weapons.
No, I agree. But I guess they're going to be so much better at the details because of Carroll. They're going to be so much better passing the football because of Geno. And even if you're not quite as high on Geno as I am, compared to what they had last year, it is a huge upgrade. And the running backs that go top 10 do usually have an instant awesome impact. They're instantly good. Christian McCaffrey was instantly good. Saquon was instantly good. Zeke, instantly good. Jahmyr Gibbs was instantly good. Jahmyr Gibbs didn't have the crazy numbers because he was split in time. But Bijan, it didn't get the ball as much as he should have, but he has been very, very good on a per carry basis. That is a position that you don't usually see a lot of top 10 running back misses. Sometimes it's short career, sometimes it wasn't the right pick, but it's not like, oh, we took this guy because we thought he was going to be great and he wasn't great.
Yeah. First off, I just love how Nick automatically is like, they could be the 2nd in the AFC. It's in the 2nd in the division, it's like, all right, I get it. You're a Kansas City Chiefs fan. In no way do I think it's a foregone conclusion that the Chiefs just win that division. I think this division ends up being very similar to what happened with the NFC North, but if anything, more competitive, because I think you'll have all 4 of these teams beating up on each other. I think Greg Jennings does bring up a great point in terms of all these defenses being able to slow down the run pretty effectively. Like, that was the best thing that even the Kansas City Chiefs were able to do against the Philadelphia Eagles and Saquon Barkley. But, you still have to think about the other, handful of games that you're going to be playing to other teams, that are not going to be within your division. But with that said, I think everyone keeps talking about just Pete Carroll, but then you got to talk about Chip Kelly and the offensive coordinator with the Raiders and what he's going to want to do offensively with this team. And I think when you can get an immediate offensive weapon impact player coming from college, and you have Chip Kelly now come in there too, I think that pairing is going to be so perfect, because they're going to speak such similar languages, because they're coming literally directly from the same place. And I think that can have a pretty nice synergistic effect. I mean, listen, this Raiders team obviously needs to be built up a little bit more, right? They obviously do need some weapons, but I think if you do get a Genti here, and he really is as great as people hope that he is, I would not be concerned that you're just going up against these other great defenses that are great at stopping the run. I would be fascinated to see how Chip Kelly would have Geno work off of Genti in that regard, and it should open up the passing game significantly more. And we know Geno Smith is more than capable of executing that. I mean, like, the reality is that these divisional games are going to be ugly to begin with. Now that they just are. These aren't going to be big time shootouts here. This isn't the Bills, or excuse me, the Ravens versus the Bengals, where the score is going to be like 45-42 or something. Like, we're probably looking at more ugly, muddled up games. And so if you are going to beat the Chiefs, like, yeah, it is going to be probably like an ugly 17-14 game, and you're going to want to be able to have a back that you can establish the run, control time of possession, keep Patrick Mahomes on the sidelines, etc., right? Like, that is what you're going to, want. You're not necessarily trying to build a team that you're like, we're going to have to win in a shootout against the Kansas City Chiefs. It's like, not necessarily. You're also thinking about, because then you're actually trying to build a real team, you're also thinking about in the playoffs. And now you're in the playoffs, and again, let's say you are playing, in Arrowhead or something, right? Like, and it's really cold and brutal and this or that. It's just like, you're going to want that back. You're going to want that big body to rely on. So, the Raiders are definitely one of my top teams that I think are going to have a big bounce back year, that I think are going to be, they may be my number one team that I think will, have the potential to really be awesome and just shock people. Very similar to the Vikings, very similar to the Commanders. Again, in what capacity, don't know. Definitely have to wait and see the draft, who they actually officially draft, and, what this final team looks like when it's all said and done. But it's from right now, it's hard for me to not feel pretty hyped, because when I look, I mean, because again, I mean, just think about what Nick was saying, is that this team was kind of such a mess with coaching, quarterback, culture, etc. And yet, even in some of these divisional games, and I get it, they're divisional games, so no matter what, even if you're like the worst team in the league, you can still play your division rivals pretty well. But they were still capable of doing that. They were still able to come away with wins against the Chiefs, or near wins, Broncos, Chargers, etc. The Ravens, like, they were still able to come away with some pretty fascinating games, some fascinating wins, that it's just like, if we already bake that in there with a significantly better team, like, I just don't see why you can't believe that this team at a minimum would be 500 just in the division, right? Just being able to at least get one win against each divisional team. And then again, if you're talking about now facing an easier schedule, going up against teams that are not going to have anywhere near as great of the defenses as the Chiefs, Chargers, and Broncos, it's just like, there got to be some pretty easy wins there too. There's got to be another easy 4 or 5. I mean, easy is relative, obviously, but 4 or 5 wins, and so it's just I just think you're in business there. Then, I really, really do. So, I am fascinated by what this team can do, honestly, and it really will come down to the draft at this point. Obviously, I mean, for pretty much every team, we can start to say that now since free agency is over. But yeah, I'm also just not going to put this like automatic ceiling on them either, because if they nail the draft and they can build the team that I believe they will, and if Pete Carroll can do what he wants to defensively, and I keep always wanted to say Cliff Kingsbury, Chip Kelly is able to connect and run an offense in the way that he wants to be able to with Geno. It just feels like that this team actually could compete for a division in the way that the Commanders were able to compete for the division against the Eagles. They needed to get hot. They needed to steal a win against the Eagles, and they needed a little bit of luck. They needed the Eagles to kind of slip a little bit, right? They needed the Eagles to lose to the Bucks and drop a pass and lose to the what was that team? The Falcons. They in order for them to kind of almost be there, they needed it. And the Eagles didn't slip anymore, and so they obviously won the division. And so I think the Raiders can compete, but they will definitely be at the mercy a little bit more than some of these other teams will need the other to slip a little bit. But I do think it's there, right? You do steal a game from the Chiefs, and the Chiefs slip up and lose to, they actually lose to the Panthers this time around, or, and whoever the heck they're playing, then I think it's on the board. The problem for them is that it's on the board also for the Chargers and the Broncos as well. So I don't know, man. This division's going to be box office. I honestly can't wait. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Las Vegas Raiders? Do you think they'll be dangerous with Ashton Genty? Do you think it would matter? Do you think it won't have as big of an impact, kind of like Greg is saying? Or do you think it could be huge? And do you think this team can actually be great, like Nick Wright is saying? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment. So whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.